how do you actually pursue your goals and your dreams while being in college or at a 9 to 5 where you feel stuck, right? You wish you could just go ahead and quit. You wish you could drop out. You wish you could give it your all, and you know that you'd be so much further ahead. But you've got 1 hour a day where maybe you can put into something, right? Well, you have the rest of the day spent working 9 to 5 to pay bills, or you're at college because your parents are forcing you to go, right? This is the kind of situation I think is very, very common for a lot of people. Right, I wanted to break down for you guys how I actually went ahead and I broke out of this cycle where I was working a typical full-time job that was about 6 to 3, right? It's basically a 9 to 5 where I was able to break out and actually pursue my goals and my dreams, right? What I actually did and what I recommend you do, right? And it really comes down to three main things that you're going to have to go ahead and do, right? The very first thing is going to be getting clear on your responsibilities. The second thing is going to be making sure you create options for yourself. And the third thing, which is the most important, is not giving up, right? I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into these three, right? Number one is you going ahead and knowing exactly what your expenses and responsibilities are. Look, the reason that you're in college or the reason that you're in university or the reason that you are working 9 to 5 is because you have some kind of responsibility, right? You're paying some kind of bills, or maybe the responsibility is to show up for your parents to kind of prove to them that, you can go ahead and get this degree, or you can pass this semester or get this grade. Right, those are your standards, and unless you can change them, which if you can, go for it. Right, if you can spend less on groceries somehow because you're spending, most of your money on something you don't need, do it. Right, or if you're getting a degree and your parents told you they're completely fine with you taking a gap year, do it. But for some of you, you can't really negotiate your responsibilities or the expenses or the requirements that you kind of have to go ahead and live. You just got to suck it up. But what I want you to do is get clear on what you need to go ahead and do. I know for me, my expenses were close to about, I'd say $1,500 to $2,000, right? Maybe a little bit over $2,000 when I was first getting into what I'm doing now, right? When I was first getting into closing. And for me, I had the clear mindset that, look, I need to make sure at the very least, obviously this wasn't my goal for total, but at the very least, I need to go ahead and find a way to earn a little bit over $2,000, call it $2,200, right, every single month to go ahead and take care of my responsibilities, just so I could go ahead and put all the time in the world into what I want to do, right? And what that meant was that I needed to create options for myself, right? Getting, and I'll talk about this point too, but getting clear on your expenses, on your responsibilities, gives you a lot of freedom, right? Because you understand exactly what is the bare minimum, what do you need to achieve. Now you achieved it, boom, you go pursue and chase your dreams. Right, because in all reality, if your bills are $5,000 and you tell yourself, no, I need to make $10,000, look, it might take you a couple of years to get from $5,000 to $10,000, right? No one ever knows, and if you're okay with losing those multiple years, or you could have been making progress by going all in, fine, right? But in all reality, every single day, every single hour, every single second counts, right? So the sooner you can go all in, the better for you. But speaking of going all in, you might not even know what to go all in on. You might not know what to focus on. Right? And this is where creating options comes into play. I know for me, when I first got my very first construction job, I was doing layout, right, which is a great gig at a drywall company. Right? I was one of the, I don't want to say smarter guys, but I was definitely, much less vulgar, much less rough around the edges than some of the other guys. And because of this, right, they put me with another guy, Eric, who I was doing layout with. Right, but I know I hated that job. I ended up doing it for close to 6 months. The plan was to do it for 2 or 3. Right, but I stayed there because I was getting paid 25 Canadian an hour, and it was pretty consistent. We were on one job site, and blah, blah, blah. I had nothing else to do. But the whole time, on site, off site, online, everywhere, I was trying to network. I was talking to electrical supervisors, I was talking to different contractors, I was talking to the union. I was working extremely hard for what my goal at the time was, becoming an electrician. And I did it, right? With kind of a strike of luck, I actually had a private company that was ready and willing to hire me. I needed a high rise, and I ended up doing that in January. So 2023 it was. Yes, 2022 actually, now that I think about it. I literally went from working from anywhere around September all the way to December at the drywall company, to then January 2023 getting into, for me, that was a high-rise electrical. And then I got into high-rise electrical, and I hated it. Or I'll be honest, it was one of the worst jobs I've ever had in my life, probably the worst. I stuck out 3 months there, and what I did every single day was I would go home. I had a whole list of electrical companies that I would cold call asking for a job. I would email every single one of them. I was literally doing sales before doing sales, right? And then I finally got a sponsorship. I had 3 interviews. One of them was willing to hire me, but they were far away. Right, the other one did hire me. They were in Vaughan, but they were part of the union, so they sponsored me. And then another one, we kind of just lost contact after the interview. I don't think I was going to get the job. Right, and that's when the union was also doing their tests, so I started to get into the pool for that. But I got sponsored, right? So I went into low-rise electrical after that. And I ended up doing that for another 6 months. So that's 6 months, 3 months, now 6 months again. It's now been over a year and a half I'm in construction. I'm starting to realize I don't like this at all. Even though I'm in the union, even though I'm an electrician, I still don't like this. And I'm still creating options for myself. I was reaching out to elevator companies because I had heard that elevator mechanics are the highest earners. Right? I found guys on LinkedIn, I found supervisors, I found managers, and there's this one guy that I found on LinkedIn, randomly, who gave me a whole spreadsheet of companies that he himself had contacted, right? That were elevator contractors. He gave me a lead sheet pretty much, and I contacted every single one of them. No. We only hire from union, from here. Right? But finally, there's this one company that went ahead and did an interview with me. And I came in, and because I had electrical skills, right? And because I had some experience there and I wasn't a dummy, I was able to start working at the shop, and I did it part-time. I'd literally finish off my electrical day around 4 or 5 p.m., right? It would be about 4 p.m. to be honest. And then by 5:30, 6 p.m., I was on a different site helping build elevators. And I was doing this for about 2-3 months until finally I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going all in, right? And for me, I had, in the span of about 2 years, quit 3 jobs to go from one to another, which every single time it was an upgrade, it was better, right? Honestly, that very last job, the elevator job was not that bad, right? I was pretty much right on track to get into the elevator union, right? Because of very hands-on experience. I was doing way more intricate work, building elevators and then installing them, literally building from scratch. These are custom elevators, than most apprentices would ever be able to do. I had very good, unique experience, but that's when I got real with myself, and in all honesty, I didn't want to be in the trades. And that whole time, starting pretty much when I got into elevator mechanic work, at the very end of my construction career, I got into sales, and I joined a mentorship, and I invested money, and it was scary, and it was the best thing I ever did, right? Because I finally had something to pour all my effort into. Because once I was working full-time in elevators, I'd come home, and what was I going to do? Play video games? Watch YouTube? No. I was going to develop a skill. Right, and actually the whole time I was doing electrical work, and at the very start drywall, I was into drop shipping. I was into personal branding. I was posting on TikTok. Right, I got a couple thousand followers. You see, the whole time I was creating options for myself no matter what, and that's the second and probably one of the most important steps. Right, but it ties perfectly into step 3, which for me was one of the most important things. I think it really ties everything together. Right, I talked about getting clear on your expenses and responsibilities. Right? This way you know exactly what it will take, or what you need to cover to be able to move around, to take risk, and to quit your job, and to do this and that, do that. Number 2 was create options for yourself. Get that lead sheet. Start to email. Start to dial. Right? Get interviews. Get options. So you can say, I'm quitting. Right? So that you're not stuck at a job. And the 3rd step is don't ever quit. You see, the crazy thing about quitting is, if you think about it, like, detach from your own situation. Forget about the job you have, forget about school, forget about what you're doing. Picture like a best friend of yours who has a massive dream. They want to change their lives, right? That's all they think about all day long. It's what they were probably put on this earth to do, right? And they try something for a year, right? A full-on year. They go so hard, and they can't make it work. And imagine one day you see them and you can't tell how you know this, but they quit. They completely quit. They're not trying anymore. What you do when you quit is you will pretty much allow that outcome to become cemented, to become solid, to become guaranteed. Your failure is now guaranteed when you quit. You see, when you don't quit, there's still the possibility for failure because there's always the option to quit. Right? But in all reality, eventually, through trial and error, through learning through mistakes, right? Through literally just attracting things, into your life, from the universe, from God, whatever you want to call it, you will eventually, see success. Myself, I could have quit all of this make money online stuff after 3 months of drop shipping and losing a lot of money. I could have quit all of this when I pretty much made very, very little money just doing personal branding. I could have quit all of this 5 months into going full time into closing, where I'd made on average about 1,000 Canadian per month, maybe 1,500. Think about that. I was making less in sales for 5-6 months, right, than I was doing construction. Think about what that does to you. You're questioning, am I actually doing the right thing? Should I have gone here, right? Am I just that bad? Is sales not for me? Like, all these doubts. I mean, come to think of it, I'm pretty much on average earning close to about 10,000 Canadian per month right now. And if you told me maybe, I don't know, 12 months ago, a little bit less, about 8 months ago, 9 months ago, when I was just starting out, my first few months into sales full time, that I was going to be making 10,000 Canadian, I'd probably laugh because I didn't even believe it was possible. Seriously, I didn't even believe it was possible. But that's what it takes, right? You never want to go ahead and quit. Look, I kind of want to read out this thing that I wrote out here. But you may feel stuck, okay? In your current position in life, you may feel stuck. But in all reality, chasing those dreams that you have is not as impossible, and actually achieving those dreams is not as impossible or difficult as it may seem. You just need to get a few important things right. Then you're going to give yourself the runway to be able to go ahead and attack any of the goals that you have unapologetically. Right? So I hope you guys learned something from this video. Step one, and they're all important, but getting clear on your expenses is pretty important. Right? The responsibilities that you have. Then creating options for yourself. Reaching out, emailing, never settling. Don't come home and watch TV just to go back to the job that you hate. Go home and look for another job. And look, and don't give up. And don't just use LinkedIn. Right? Don't just use Yellow Pages. Don't just use Google Maps. Don't use everything in your power. Right? And then step 3 is never ever quit. Right? Because the moment you quit, you have officially lost. Right? So unless you want to lose, don't quit. It's just that simple. It's crazy, but it really is just that simple. Guys, I appreciate you watching the video. This is a little bit of, kind of a story mixed with some advice to all the young guys and girls and people who are maybe even older trying to change their lives. Remember, it's all worth it, right? And it will happen. It will work out in your favor. Just be patient, right? Be ready to take risk and be ready to get uncomfortable. Because I've made a lot of very uncomfortable changes in my life in the past few years, quitting jobs that people would have told me to never quit. And thank God I did. Right? That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you in the next one.